they hear these appeals one by one. By the way, you might be interested to know that 3 Sun City residents are members of the Board of Equalization. Don't get too excited because none of them are going to be allowed to sit on our appeals. We're at the, specifically it's Walter Cox in Pod 35, Tom Dirk in Pod 33, and Phil Hurst in Pod 30. And so, you know, I'm sure, I know, I've talked to them, and I think they are sort of cheering us on, but for purposes of these Board of Equalization hearings, they're just interested bystanders like a lot of other people. We are going to have to deal with the other 12 members from across the county. Now, speaking of success, the Board of Equalization hearings began the week of July 22nd. By the end, they had already heard 109, 76 the county won, and 33 were resulted in results in favor of the property.
That seemed about right.
Now, what they don't say, and this comes right out of a news article in the River Daily News, what they don't say is how many of those appeals were won by the county, because you know what? The property owner didn't show up. I mean, they didn't show up for the hearing. And that happened, according to my inside sources, in about 40% of the cases. So they still went ahead and required the county, because they have the burden of proof, to establish the value at which these lots and homes have been assessed, made them put their proof on. But obviously, when you haven't got anybody on the other side providing context, providing pushback, it's going to be a pretty easy decision for the Board of Equalization. And you got to wonder what would happen if somebody had actually shown up and been prepared and been able to educate the Board of Equalization on what the value is. Yeah, you can just leave it there. Thank you. Everybody get a chance to look for your appeal form. Okay. Now, it's important to understand and to present evidence. You know, you begin with the end in mind, who you're going to be presenting evidence to, and what evidence is going to be relevant. I think what is, and I'm going to be arguing when my first group of clients, we've already agreed with the county that our hearings will occur over the course of about 2 to 3 days, where we first educate the panel of the Board of Equalization on what Sun City is. A lot of people are not sort of familiar with the concept of the seniors community, why we buy here, and I think most importantly, why our original purchase prices that we paid are not a good point of reference or of terrible relevance to what our property should currently be appraised for. And if you look at the resales in Sun City, I don't know if you can see the color there. That's supposed to be 2 red ones and 1 green one. You know what that means? Yeah. It means 2 money losers and one that made some money in Pod 1A. If you look at Pod 1B, 2 money losers. Pod 2, 3 out of 4 money losers. And these are all sales that happened before January 1, 2013. That's important because that's the date that the assessments are key to. And so we have to present evidence to the Board of Equalization as to what our values of our property was on January 1, 2013. This is Pod 3. There's been a number of resales. In fact, a couple of them have resold twice. You know, that's look at that. That's
7-1.
Yeah, 7-1. Pod 33, 2 out of 3 money losers. Pod 34, I think that's 2 out of 3. 36 has been a number, and Pod 36 is real interesting, especially for those of you who live along this lake with the scenic view of the pond. If you want to no people really felt pain in here. And I'm not meaning to minimize anybody else's pain, but these people went from $35,000 on their lot value in 2011 to over $80,000, and in 2 instances over $105,000 in 2012, just on the lot value alone. So that's who I was working with originally to appeal, and then once we found out how many other Sun City owners were appealing to 101, we invited them to participate with us. But obviously, more money losing sales. There has been one resale in my pod, in pod 35, but that happened in 2013, so that's not going to be considered relevant. And that, by the way, was also a money loser, and pod 39 is that too. I can run through some expert property tax appeal tips. I got about 8 or 9 of them, but you know, first of all, again, let me tell you, you can do your own appeal. Everybody in this room is capable, especially with the time that you may have available to you, to do a little research both on the law and on resales. I've spent some time getting to know Sun City. This is everybody's property report card, and so I've been studying Sun City property values and resales and so forth. But anybody else can do that too. I wanted to go back to the method by which the county reassessed all of our properties there at the end of 2011 and 2012. And what they did was they used a computer-assisted mass appraisal. That is where, and Georgia law allows counties to reassess countywide using basically a statistical model that's computer-assisted, CAMA, computer-assisted mass appraisal. And what they basically did was put a bunch of information together and spit it out. Is, in my view, is a garbage in, garbage out type of methodology that is very difficult to explain. And that's why you have to watch that YouTube video of Mr. Griggers last year to try and understand what, because he tries to explain that. I'm going to be offering expert witness to the Board of Equalization panel that hears my group's appeal from the former Fulton County chief appraiser for the Fulton County Board of Tax Assessors, which in his opinion says a CAMA mass appraisal is inherently unreliable. I think this guy is very well respected. He's now doing sort of what I'm doing, assisting mostly commercial property owners appeal their assessments. But that's the type of thing I'm going to be offering in way of evidence to try and knock out the underpinnings of the county's countywide reassessment to offer some expert witness testimony. But you got to know the law, understand what market data you can use, and like I said, that's just sales prior to the date of the assessment, which is January 1. And you can study the Board of Equalization rules, understand the rules of evidence, and then put together a presentation. One other thing everybody can do is check your property report card. That is, you know, what you see on the county website. That book I just held up, I'm not gonna bend my arm again, out of shape to lift that up for you again. But that's a property report card, and that's what they use to come up with at least some basis for valuation. If they've got down the wrong number of rooms, the wrong amount of square footage, they use heated square feet. Maybe they finished basement, which really isn't finished. Maybe they have you overvalued on the addition. If it's wrong, you want to call that to their attention. Third, file the appeal before you negotiate. Spalding County, up until 2012, actually did negotiate fairly flexibly. After they did that countywide reassessment, and I think particularly with respect to Sun City, they became very inflexible, and they did not negotiate at all. They basically said, the people at the front desk and the chief appraiser just said, I've got the authority. If you're from Sun City, I haven't even got the authority to negotiate. But don't get lulled into the sense that we're negotiating with you and let that August 22nd date go by. File the appeal and then negotiate, because remember, they have 180 days to look at the appeal themselves and maybe come up with a different value. And you don't want to get sandbagged by them negotiating with you, thinking you're going to come up with something that you're not going to have to go through the appeal process. And then when they eventually deliver the news that they aren't ever going to come close to your number, you'll wish you had that appeal to continue to hold their feet to the fire and put them at risk. Be sure to find and use relevant sales data. Look for sold properties similar to yours in size, age, and of course other physical characteristics. One of the things we're going to have to do is educate the Board of Equalization panel members on what Sun City is all about. The different pods out here, the different models that are available, and that sort of thing. And one of my big points to the Board of Equalization, I think it's going to be I don't know if I can say winning argument, but I think it's going to bear a lot of relevance, is that the reason the original purchase price is not a good reference point is we pay to get into this community dealing with one seller. There's not a truly a true competitive fair market value sale where if you've got competing sellers, there are different dynamics involved. And once they use the original purchase price as their point of reference and their basis of valuation, we're really being taxed, I believe, on our lifestyle. We pay for a certain lifestyle, right, to get in here, take advantage of senior activities and that sort of thing. But we didn't, when it comes time to establishing fair market value of our homes, the resale market, where there are competitive forces at work and at play, those are the ones that have the dynamics that ought to be looked at for valuation. Yes, sir.
That brings up a question I had in my mind from Mr. Lillard's discussion the other day, when he was talking about uniformity as one of the reasons that you can appeal, and that in their comparisons that they use for real estate or real property evaluations is based on blocks of about 200 properties that they're supposed to be comparing, like sizes, build, structure, roofs, the whole box of uniformity in size, shape, and color. I'm wondering where in Spalding County can they come up with 200 homes that are similar to the ones that we have here anywhere else in the county, which goes to your point, which they can't. So we're basically a microcosm.
That's right.
And they are taxing us based on only on our own property values, because there isn't a 200 numbered box of homes that they can compare to countywide.
Right. And again, what I truly expect them to do, and by the way, none of the Sun City appeals have been heard yet. The 30 or so other folks who are proceeding by themselves, I wish them all the luck in the world. They're going to go first, and I'm going to be interested to see what the reaction of the Board of Equalization is going to be to that. But we are, I think, truly a unique situation here, and no, there is not another group of 200 elsewhere in the county that we're going to be compared to. What the county doesn't even want to do is compare one dogwood section to another dogwood section. They want to look at only either the azalea models or the dogwoods or the magnolia models within each individual pod, and that is not right. And I think that is part of our challenge, is to educate the Board of Equalization on the concept that Pulte has developed here, and what attracted us, what we paid for, what dynamics were at play when we bought and why the true reflection of the market are all these resales, which most of which happen at levels way below the original purchase price when a prospective purchaser had other choices to make. Pulte, they could buy a new home from Pulte, they could buy the Livian home from the Sun City resident, they could, you know, go up to that community north of Georgia 20, that kind of thing. So, yes, ma'am.
How long does this process continue? Say, you know, you go through all the appeals and say, we do win, or whatever, what happens in the future, 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
Can't hear the question.
Keep revolving that, is it like a revolving
What?
door that's gonna keep happening every year?
The question for those in the back who couldn't hear is, you know, basically what's the end game? What happens at the end of this overall process? What happens is if you are unhappy with the outcome at the Board of Equalization, we can appeal to the Spalding County Superior Court. I'm going to tell you that on a cost-benefit analysis, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you're probably talking about less than $1,000. You're going to have to pay a filing fee that itself would be about $150. You're going to have to hire appraisers. So your best shot, and especially given that it's free, the one that makes the most sense is to do this appeal at the Board of Equalization. Now, if the Board of Equalization renders a result that you can live with, that it stays in place for the next 2 years. They are not allowed to raise it. They lower it, but they can't raise it above what the Board of Equalization established. If you're unhappy with the outcome at the Board of Equalization and you don't take the appeal to the Superior Court, you can appeal again next year. And there's quite a number of people who are doing that in here. Real quick, yeah.
Are you able to handle